In the first age of gods, you are born in a hall of shadows. You are no ordinary child. You are Jormungandr, offspring of Loki the trickster and Angrboda the giantess, a creature that never had a chance to be small or harmless. From the moment you open your eyes, your body betrays you. Scales already glisten black and green along your skin, eyes burn cold like the abyss, and your length stretches further than any newborn should. You are not welcomed with lullabies or warmth. You are met with silence and dread, because even as a hatchling you look like a weapon forged by chaos itself. Odin does not need omens to see what you are. He looks at you once and knows you cannot be allowed to walk among gods or men. There is no debate, no mercy. You are dragged from your mother, your coils thrashing with desperate strength that grows heavier by the second. The Allfather orders your exile, not into chains or dungeons, but into the endless ocean. Cold waters close around you before you can understand what has happened, before you can ever take a step on solid ground. You sink, weightless and unwanted, swallowed by a world of salt and darkness. Already your body stretches longer, each hour adding coils to a frame that refuses to stop expanding. The sea is not a refuge, it is a cage, a grave prepared too early. You twist through its depths, chasing light that never comes, your jaws already wide enough to swallow fish whole. The ocean groans under your growth, and still you feel hunger gnawing like fire in your belly. You bite, you devour, but the emptiness remains. Each day you grow larger, and each day you understand less of why you were denied a place in the world above. Alone in the abyss, rejected before you could speak or choose. You begin to learn what your existence will mean. Not life, not freedom, but a sentence written by others before you could breathe. Your tail brushes rock. Your coils loop through trenches, your body filling every corner of the deep. You are still a child in years, but your size already belongs to monsters. The gods called you abomination, the world called you threat, and so you have only the ocean, stretching cold and endless around you, yet never enough to hide what you are becoming. Your birth was not a beginning but a curse. You do not stop growing. Every hour adds length to a body that already frightens the dark. Scales harden into plates that scrape rock. Your spine extends until the seafloor feels like a hallway and the midwater a ceiling pressing on your skull. Your jaw widens, fangs lengthen, breath turns bitter with venom, and water shivers as your weight settles over canyons that once seemed vast. The ocean is no longer a world. It is a container. Hunger arrives like a tide that never retreats. You chase shoals until the silver cloud vanishes between your teeth and still the ache gnaws. You take whales that sing in your path and feel only a brief warmth fading along the tunnels of your body. Storms drive long ships over you, and when you rise, the hulls split like bark in your bite. Men fall, wood scatters, iron sinks, and the sea closes without caring. Nothing is enough. The more you feed, the more you grow, and the asking never ends. To hide, you go deeper, but deeper no longer exists. There is only your length and a ribbon of water around it. You circle to make space. You circle again. You circle until your own tail passes your tongue. The first bite is not defiance, it is survival. Teeth close and hold because otherwise you will spill across the world and crush the shores without trying. So you lock your jaws and turn the endless path into a ring. Pressure builds. Muscle pushes against muscle. Scales grind. Every shift is a landslide of weight. Sleep is gone. When you loosen, you spread. When you tighten, you ache. There is no position that gives rest. You become your own prison. Ships draw maps that curve because your back bends the sea. Fishermen speak the name Jormungandr as if it were weather. Sometimes you glimpse the coast, a thin line beyond the foam, and for a breath you want to see what waits there, but your bite must hold. If you release yourself, tides will climb the fields and there will be no turning back. So you tighten and feed to keep the grip. You swallow a pod of whales like a mouthful of rain. You take a fleet that trusted the horizon and learn again the same lesson. The emptiness is patient. It waits behind every meal. Seasons pass. Ice forms and melts on your back. Barnacles arrive, grow, and vanish under new scale. The world above thinks monsters choose. You know this is not a choice. The ring is a sentence. Mouth on tail, the circle drawn tight around Midgard not for glory, but because the ocean cannot hold you any other way. Inside that circle, hunger walks in circles too, step for step with your heart, waiting for the day your jaw slackens and the world feels how large you are. The ring you make around the world does not hide you. It marks you. News of Jormungandr moves from the halls of Asgard to the hearths of men, and the story they trade about you is never mercy. You are named the child of Loki, a sign that trouble walks on 2 feet and swims on coils, and every omen reader lifts your shadow like a blade. Gods watch the sea as if it were a door you might open. Men steer their ships with eyes on the swell, where your back rises like a moving island. Each storm is blamed on you, each unlucky voyage hung on your name, and fear works its slow work until even calm water feels like a trap. You learn that isolation is not the worst part of your life. The hunt is. A day comes when the sky is low and the air tastes like iron. A boat leaves shore with a god aboard and a giant at the oars. Thor carries a coil of rope thick as a tree root and an iron hook forged to hold mountains. He fixes an ox head to the point and lets the rope sink until even you cannot see the bait fall. But hunger finds it. The scent cuts through your chest and your jaw opens before thought. The hook sets deep. The rope tightens and the sea around you hisses with strain. Your coils heave and the circle of your body creaks like a timber haul. Above, Thor braces his feet and pulls with the kind of strength that makes the world complain. You rise, layer by layer, green twilight, blue night, then the pale skin of the surface. Your head breaks water first. The wind hits your eyes. The boat is a chip beneath your breath. Thor stands, hammer ready, and for the first time you measure your enemy not as a story but as a shape you could crush. He does not flinch. Your tail lashes and waves climb the sky. His arm goes back and the hammer lifts, and you feel that if the arc finishes, your skull will split and your name will end here. The giant Hymir sees what the blow would bring, and fear chooses for him. He reaches for a knife and cuts the rope. The line snaps. Thor swings and misses as you drop, the sea swallowing your head and the light at once. You fall through dark fast, the iron still ripping your lip, blood drawing a red road behind your jaw. You do not forget the face that hunted you. He does not forget the weight that bent his wrists. From that day, the chase grows teeth. Priests call for offerings to hold you down. Warriors swear they saw your eye beneath their hull and speak of it like winter. Even the gods count the days with a new impatience, because the prophecy says you and Thor will finish what that boat began. You return to your ring, but the ring is smaller now, tight with the memory of that almost ending. The hook scar stiffens. Your venom runs hotter. You understand that the world will not let you exist without a fight. Peace is a lie told by those who sleep on land. You are hunted from both shores of the sky, and every time a rope touches water, you feel it. And every time oars creak, you listen, knowing that sooner or later the sea will lift you again and the hammer will not miss. The ocean holds you, but it does not change you. You do not age. You do not weaken. The circle you make around Midgard is as tight today as it was centuries ago, your teeth fixed on your own tail, your coils pressing against the world like a chain. Time for you is not a river, but a stone corridor with no doors, only walls that never move. Every moment feels the same, water sliding past your scales, the same ache in your jaw, the same hunger circling with you. Men grow old and vanish, gods rise in halls of gold, kingdoms fall into ash, and still you remain in the water, always watching, never leaving. Your name is spoken not as story, but as warning, because all know what you are meant to do. Prophecy does not ask you, it tells you. You are not allowed a life of choices or mistakes. You are the hinge on which the end will turn. When you release your tail, when you open your jaws, Ragnarok begins. That knowledge is heavier than the seas around you. It presses into your mind like stone on bone. Each time your fangs scrape your scales, you wonder if they will slip, if the circle will break too soon, if the sky will split before its hour. The world above does not see the weight you carry. For them, you are a monster in hiding. For you, every heartbeat is a countdown that never ends. You do not sleep. How could you? When dreams arrive, they only show the same horizon burning, the same hammer waiting for your skull, the same poison boiling from your throat to drown the sky. The wait is worse than the death that is promised because the wait never ends. Centuries grind past like teeth on stone. Ice ages rise and melt on your back. You feel forests spread and vanish along coastlines you will never walk. Your body keeps the world together, and yet it is your body that will tear it apart. You are forced to be patient even when patience is agony. You know you will not live to see peace. You know you were not born to witness creation but to close it. The gods speak of destiny as if it were glory, but destiny for you is a locked door with only one key, and the key is your bite. All paths lead to the same place, and that place is ruin. So you hold the circle tighter, your jaws cutting deeper into your own flesh, venom leaking into water that has long stopped resisting it. The monotony becomes torture, but torture is safer than release. The world waits for you, fears you, hates you, but none of them understand that you too are waiting, and that waiting is worse than death. You are chained not by iron or magic, but by prophecy itself, and every tide, every moon, every storm is another step closer to the moment you cannot avoid, the moment the circle breaks and the end begins. The end does not arrive as a surprise. It arrives the way a held breath ends. The ground shudders, the sky tears, and the coil you have kept for ages can no longer hold. Your fangs open and your tail slides free. The circle breaks and the ocean lifts with you as if an island stood up from the floor. You rise until cliffs disappear under white water and whole forests vanish behind walls of spray. Venom boils along your throat, pressure building like a storm trapped in bone, and when you exhale, the sea foams black and the clouds bruise with poison. Birds drop. Fish turn white. The horizon folds. Across the churn, a single figure steps forward against the flood. Thor wades through water that would drown mountains, shoulders set, hammer in hand, each stride sending rings through a sea already shaking with your weight. You close the distance in a heartbeat, your head fills his sky. He plants his feet on a swell and lifts Mjolnir high, and the world pauses between your open jaws and the fall of that iron. You strike first, your neck snaps like a whip and your fangs meet stone. The shock travels up your skull and down your spine. Thor slides aside with the simple economy of a killer who has waited for one opponent his whole life. Mjolnir crashes into the hinge of your jaw. Light detonates. Scales shear off like thrown blades. You taste your own blood and the sea around you steams. You answer with the only weapon that matches his. You flood the air with poison, a heavy breath that turns wind into acid. The god does not retreat. He lowers his head and walks through it. You try to drown him in your coils. The first rap takes a mountain of water with it. The second silences the thunder for a heartbeat. The third squeezes until wood and bone would crack. Thor does not break. You feel his arm grind a path through your muscle. Hear the thud of the hammer as it finds purchase against your skull again and again. Each blow is a world-ending sound. You release, lash, and strike. He ducks under teeth that could bite a ship in two and drives Mjolnir into the roof of your mouth. Your vision tears. The sea falls away. For a moment, you see everything at once. Frostlands tipped into the ocean, fire climbing out of the ground, shadows moving with swords on the far shore. You answer with a last surge, body arched to blot out the light, and your breath explodes across him, the thick venom that the scalds warned would drown the sky. It hits his chest and eats the air around him. He staggers. He does not drop the hammer. The final swing begins close. A short, brutal arc with no wasted motion. It lands at the base of your skull. The crack rolls through the deep like a fault breaking. Your body convulses and the sea lifts you, then drops you in one shuddering wave. The poison keeps pouring from your jaws in a river you can no longer control. Thor stands on buckling water and takes one step, then another, then a third. Each stride slower than the last as your breath works its way through him. He keeps his eyes on you as the strength leaves his legs. You feel the stillness moving through your length, coil by coil, like frost sealing a river. Muscles slacken, fins fall quiet. The power that once wrapped the world loosens into dead weight. Thor takes his final steps and sinks to his knees, chest heaving, the hammer hanging from a hand that will not let go even as the poison finishes its work. There is no victory here. You die as the prophecy demanded, head split and heart empty. And he dies because he met you and did what he was made to do. The sea rolls your body and crushes cities with your last uncoiling. The sky darkens with the stain of your breath. What remains is silence built from ruin, proof that destiny keeps no trophies and that the greatest fight in the world ends the way all fights end, with two bodies paying the same price. From the first breath you took, you were never free. Your scales had not yet hardened when the gods cast you into the ocean, already judged, already condemned, and every moment that followed was shaped by that decree. You did not choose to grow until the seas cracked under your weight. You did not choose to bite your own tail and bind yourself in the circle that strangled both body and mind. You did not choose to become the shadow whispered by men who crossed the waves, or the nightmare prayed against by farmers who feared the storms you stirred with every restless turn. You were born Jormungandr, and that name was not life, but sentence. The hunger never left you. It sat in your stomach and spread to your bones, carving away any hope that food would fill you. The silence never left you. It wrapped your body tighter than chains, forcing you into an existence where the only voices that reached you were cries of fear or curses shouted against the wind. The waiting never left you. Centuries passed like moments, and yet everyone carried the same weight, the same knowledge that your life could only end in blood. When the day of Ragnarok came, you did not march to battle for glory. You were pushed into it by prophecy, forced to play the role written for you before you could swim your first stroke. You drowned the sky in venom, shook the seas until mountains fell, and met Thor in the duel the world had always demanded. Even then, there was no triumph. You crushed and were crushed. You poisoned and were broken. The god who killed you took his last steps under the weight of your breath, and both of you sank together, bound in the kind of ending where victory has no meaning. That is the truth of your existence. No choice, no rest, no peace. Born to be hated, grown to be feared, destined only to be destroyed. You lived as a prisoner of the body that would not stop expanding, a prisoner of the hunger that never ceased, a prisoner of the prophecy that offered only one door and one destination. To be Jörmungandr is not to be a serpent of legend, not to be a creature of awe, but to be the world's own executioner, trapped in a story that never asked if you wished to tell it. From the first exile into the deep to the last convulsion in the waves, your life was a line written by others. That is the price of being the World Serpent, an existence where freedom is an illusion, survival is torment, and death is an obligation.